In the solid editing panel of AutoCAD, we have three tools here which are very powerful and often referred to as Boolean operations. So we're going to go through these one by one so that you can follow along and see how they behave. And the three that we're going to look at are called solid union, solid subtract, and solid intersect. Now, if you're in the 3D Basics modelling workspace, you will see that these are in the edit panel just here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to 3D modelling and we're going to have a go with these one by one. The first tool we're going to use is called solid union, and all this does is joins 3D objects together so that they become one. So for this example, I'm just going to draw a simple box, and like the previous videos, I'm not too worried at this stage about the sizes of these boxes. I'm just drawing them in any old size just so that we can see how the tool works. So here we have two objects that are touching each other, and you can see that this face is against the face of the larger object here. And at the moment, because these are generic boxes, you can see that if I want to change the size of these, then at the moment I get these blue nodes in the corner and midpoints of the object so that I can change the size of them. And that's really quite useful. However, once we perform these Boolean operations, those nodes will no longer be there. And so it's going to be a little bit trickier to change the size of these boxes afterwards. So we're going to select both objects like this, and we're going to go to the solid union tool, select both objects and press enter. And it's as simple as that. You can now see that this is now one object. And you can see that when I select this one object, I no longer have these nodes available to me. However, I can use the press pull tool, which we've featured in a previous video, and you can see that this will work perfectly well. I can make this 800mm larger or longer, but it does have a slightly different effect on some of the faces. Slightly different effect, maybe an effect that you probably wouldn't imagine would happen. So you just need to be aware of how that object is going to behave if you want to resize it after you have joined them together using solid union. Solid subtract will take one object and subtract it from another. And this is useful, as you can see from this visual description, for making doorways and things like this. So let's have a go at that now. So we're just going to pick up the box tool, and we're just going to draw in a simple shape that represents maybe some kind of wall or something like this. Could be some kind of set piece. And then I'm going to draw in a box that is going to be representative of a doorway. Now, of course, you can make this the exact dimensions of a door. I'm just guessing it at this point, just for the sake of demonstration. The next thing we need to do is make sure that this box, this part that we're going to subtract from the wall, is sticking through the wall. So we're just going to use the 3D gizmo here just to pull it along the axis and make sure that it's definitely sticking out from both sides. And you can see it is. It doesn't matter how far, because it's just going to subtract that out anyway. But as long as it's sticking all the way through, then you'll get a doorway. Otherwise, if it's only halfway through, you'll get an alcove. Okay, so now all we need to do is we just need to come over to the solid subtract tool and select the object we want to use to subtract from, press enter, and then select the object we're going to subtract from it and press enter. And here you can see that we have what looks like a doorway through our wall. And that is a very useful tool for making all sorts of things. Again, you can see that we no longer have these nodes now to make this wall bigger. However, we can use the press pull tool to change some of these dimensions. The last tool we're going to look at is called Solid Intersect. And as you can see, this tool is really useful for creating brackets or very sort of intricate objects that otherwise would be quite tricky to draw. And the way that this tool works is by taking two objects or more and only leaving us with the overlapped area. So for this, I'm just going to maybe draw a box and let's say a cylinder like this, making sure that there's an overlap. I might just move this up, and then as you can see, one is definitely overlapping the other, and we're just going to be left with the overlap. So all we need to do is go to Solid Intersect, select both objects and press enter, and as you can see, we're left with just that overlapped object like this. Again, a very useful tool.